Alright, so we continue our story with the relic hunt. Basically, all teams on both sides pretty much gather, with everyone listening in to their leaders and then being deployed to their locations. Keep in mind, with more Autobots in this timeline, the teams are actually split evenly, and the only one that stays behind is Ratchet because he is still working on the project and just putting on the finishing touches. And so, this is where we do get the episode Tunnel Vision, where RC, in this magnificent pose, mind you, along with Bumblebee, actually do go into the New York City tunnels, and well, kind of everything happens. As when RC and Bumblebee pretty much rear around the corner after hearing all the drill and mining, all along with, useless Miko and Jack as well. Yeah, this is where we get, them seeing Knockout and Breakdown. Kind of obvious because when Breakdown lives in my what ifs, and thank God we killed Arachnid off pretty early. Meaning that, Breakdown gets to live here and, doesn't die. So, with that being said, this does mean that Knockout and Breakdown, and this, are going to be still, fighting and stuff like that. And Knockout is still going to be a confident fighter along with Breakdown. So, they both do fight Bumblebee and RC. And this means that they're going to have to really work for the relic. Because again, I think Breakdown along with Knockout is 10 times more formidable than just a single Insecticon. Let's just be honest here. Because with that kind of duo, with their teamwork and chemistry, being able to even be, able to take out Optimus Prime on that one occasion, yeah, they're pretty lethal. But again, at the end of it, I do see them retreating because, again, the Autobots just simply get the upper hand. Or we could actually say RC is able to get the phase shifter first in this timeline before Knockout is even able to successfully taser, and actually utilizes it to basically beat up on Knockout and Breakdown. So, yeah. Now, the next episode, or the next relic, is the Apex Armor, where we actually see Optimus Prime in the Arctic. However, he is not alone. With more Autobots, Optimus can finally go with someone. And this is where we actually get to see Hotshot going along with Optimus. And I do like this here, because Hotshot is essentially, yes, my smokescreen replacement. And, well, he's a lot more capable and a lot more patient than Smokescreen. However, Dreadwing himself arrives, but he is not alone. You see, accompanying Megatron's new second-in-command is Megatron's D1 Glazer Lugnut. Yeah, you got stuck with him. It's your fault. And keep in mind, Dreadwing's kind of relieved to find the Autobots because, again, he doesn't have to listen to Lugnut's inane prattle about Megatron. And this is where, Hotshot does manage to kill the two soldiers, and Lugnut is like, they were not fit to serve Lord Megatron with their fodder. And this is where even Optimus is like, dang, dude, I mean, that's your own soldiers, but it is what it is. And so Optimus simply does tell them they can stand down and hand over the relic, but this is where Dreadwing pretty much asks him the same thing, and they're like, oh, well, since we're all at a impasse here, let's just run it. And so Optimus versus Dreadwing is still as epic as ever, with both of them trading blows equally, doing the same thing, and, well, they pretty much tell both sides to go ahead and get the relic. And again, in all honesty, I want to know what you guys think. Who would have actually won this if, it was just a straight fight to the death? Would it have been Optimus? Would it have been Dreadwing? But let's make it clear. We all know this was going to be high diff regardless. But with that being said, this is where Lugnut and Hotshot both race towards the building, and luckily the humans are evacuated in this timeline. However, Lugnut, seeing that Hotshot is getting close, transforms and tries to stomp on him. However, Hotshot manages to transform as well, takes out his blade, and slices off Lugnut's Decepticon insignia. This is because, Hotshot did kind of miss a little bit, and this, kind of enrages Lugnut. How dare you get rid of the symbol that my lord and master gave me by right? How would anyone know that I am claimed by him? To which Hotshot's like, bro, that's kind of sus, not gonna lie. But again, Hotshot does put up a good fight and even gets a few more cuts on Lugnut, despite the fact that Lugnut is physically beating on him. So Hotshot, for a rookie, isn't doing too bad. How when Hotshot goes for another slash, Lugnut is like, okay, enough of this. And this is where he pretty much goes full nuclear punch. And this cracks the ice beneath both of them, and they go plunging into the water below. However, before Hotshot can get out, Lugnut uses this to transform and basically jet tackles Hotshot into the building, knocking him clean out. And again, Hotshot is just battered, bruised, and damaged. And keep in mind, Lugnut is a veteran. While he is, glazy and, sometimes can come off as stupid, he is a great fighter. He is an experienced warrior. However, luckily, someone else is. That's Optimus, who uses his vehicle form to ram into Lugnut. However, Dreadwing was chasing him as well, and this is where one of his shots finally land a well-placed blast into Optimus's back, sending him tumbling through the building that actually has the relic, and he smashes right through the ice. And when Optimus gets up and gets off his dizziness, he sees the relic, and he's like, this is perfect for our usage. And he sees the Apex armor, and considering the ice is shattered, he immediately grabs it and puts it on. And this is at the same time that Lugnut and Dreadwing do come in. And so this is where they actually get to see Optimus holding the Apex armor, and they're telling him that it belongs to Megatron. And Optimus simply states he would never let Megatron have such a device of destruction, but he will use it now to show them how much power he truly has, and puts on the Apex armor. Because I think I'd be terrified if I was a Decepticon. Optimus Prime wearing the Apex armor, and this is where Lugnut and Dreadwing get beaten up as Hotshot finally recovers. However, he does feel a little bit, down on himself here. He thought he could handle Lugnut. He thought he could actually beat him. And so, as the two Decepticons realize that they just lost the relic and have to transform and retreat, Optimus disengages the Apex armor and simply talks to Hotshot, telling him that you did great. Not many rookies or not many Autobots would have lasted against Lugnut's nuclear punch. And that Hotshot not only surviving, but being able to harm him is actually a great feat in itself. So Hotshot does feel a little bit more confident about himself, but still understands there's room to grow. But now we go into the episode Triangle, and this is actually going to take place very, very differently. And well, let's begin. Soundwave goes after the relic in the original. However, instead of Wheeljack and the Jackhammer, it's actually Cosmos, and inside of him, no Diddy, is Override. And well, the dogfight pretty much goes the same, except with Cosmos being a much better pilot than Wheeljack, being an actual spaceship, okay? He's actually able to put up a much more decent fight and actually damage Soundwave a little bit. Like, he actually does tag Soundwave a bit, but it's not in the area that he really needs to, like his thruster. However, Soundwave is able to not only outmaneuver, but actually utilizes his own blast to target Cosmos's thruster, or at least his middle one, as he pretty much has no other choice but to actually descend. But he is actually able to use his other two thrusters to kind of make it a controlled landing, to where he's not entirely damaged. However, he does transform at the last minute, holding Override on his chest before crash landing pretty hard. Luckily, he is durable, so yeah, he's got it. All that space armor and stuff like that. And this is where Cosmos simply asks Override if she's okay. And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. How about you? You took that fall like a champ, but geez, how's your thrusters? To which Cosmos does pretty much runs a forensic on himself here. And he simply states that, yeah, he's not going to be flying for a good minute right now. He's grounded until Ratchet can fix him up back at base. But again, it's not too bad of damage. He'll catch up with her as soon as he can. But right now, she needs to go get a relic. And just was overall like, oh yeah, right, I forgot about that. Alright, I'll be right back. Just make sure you don't get eaten by the local wildlife around here. And just pretty much, Cosmo simply laughs and actually does sit down for a bit while examining any of the other wounds he got from the plane crash, and actually does, shows little medical expertise and begins at least welding some of the wounds. However, Override is now in her vehicle form, and can we all take a moment to realize how like some of her parts actually look a bit more animalistic when in her vehicle mode? I don't know, I'm just not noticing that. But again, like in the original, Soundwave does find the Renaissance blaster, okay? And well, unfortunately, he hears something honking behind him, and that is Override. Yeah, we know what's going to happen. So Override, being an elite guard commander, much more experienced and much more skilled, actually rams right into Soundwave, causing him to drop the relic. And now both of them stand off, with the relic obviously behind Override at this point. And this actually takes very different results, unfortunately. Or at least unfortunately for one of them. And with a much more competent opponent, and Wheeljack is simply just, kind of reckless with his attacks. And again, I'm not saying he's not skilled, but he's not a great fighter. He's a good one, but not a great one, if you get what I mean. With Override having more experience, and with her actually preferring to blast her opponents and then get close later, this actually does manage to put Soundwave on the back foot completely. And with the fact that she did get some extra damage off him earlier, yeah, I'm going to say that Override not only beats Soundwave, but I actually do believe she would kill him here. And again, this is a very big tactical decision by any Autobot. I know I did in the last What If I did, which was what if the Dinobots were Kaiju. And again, that was because Arachnid was on their side. And Arachnid would be the one to kill Soundwave, just not taking that, risk or opportunity of him coming back. Override, while not as ruthless as Arachnid, does have the mentality that this is the best option and a great advantage for the war. However, we are going to end it off here, as I do want to leave the next chapter for a surprise. But this is where Override hears on her communication that 2 Autobots are down and that she needs to get to this location ASAP. And that's going to leave it off here, guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends, and I'll see you guys for the next part. Peace.